All right, so that's the final segment. We've done the memes. All right, so we can talk about current affairs. Should we talk about a subject currently going on? So my three favorite websites that remember, I'm a Brit bonger, okay? I live in the UK, okay? So try and understand the websites that I tend to naturally drift towards are obviously British websites. So the three main websites, oh, this is what I've recently been reading, um, are bbc.co.uk, Daily Mail, and The Guardian. Now, I'm not here to push a political agenda, okay, and saying what is right or wrong, but these are the websites I tend to gravitate towards when it comes down to getting my daily news. I tend to go. My default option is usually the BBC, and then if I'm really bored, I'll go Daily Mail because they've got some good pictures, big images. And Guardian is if I don't understand a subject and I want to read a massive amount of text to understand a subject. And that's technically how I progress around the world. Anyway, I don't know why I'm explaining this to you guys, but I just wanted to basically, we could talk about one specific topic. So this will give you guys inspiration. You guys can spam in the chat. What topic should we talk about? So we've got child jumps hailed in trial as adult blood clot linked. God, that's a specific title. Body found in search. Okay. Student makes bin bag machine litter hit park. Leeds student builds a bin bag dispenser to tackle Hyde Park litter.
So I just kind of started putting something together, making it up as I went along, and eventually it ended up as this bin bag dispenser, which is now in Hyde Park.
I tend to read news and get my own point of view and ignore the BS. Isn't that what everyone does?
There's this bad image that's been put on us. I genuinely do feel that, and
You know, I don't want to be that guy, but I think I'm just going to be that guy. This is a really wholesome story. I love this idea of this. I think he's being really great by doing this. But holy shit, just one bunch of kids come up to this, unravel all the bin bags, and then lob them everywhere. I have. I'm sorry. I'm literally that guy. I've become the boomer.
which is now just for direct group. If this bad people with wood, it might rot or it might get destroyed or something. So it's nice to know it's still up and standing. Some of my housemates told me that today it was still going. So it's obviously good to see the community really like it, and they're happy it's there at the minute.
Oh, I also watched this as well. I watched Louis Theroux's documentary today about Tiger King 2.0. It was actually kind of interesting. Quite a lot of unseen footage between him and Louis. Would you use the bin bags if you totally be honest with you? I mean, I personally would. Well, I mean, I wouldn't pick up anyone else's rubbish, but I would use them for my own rubbish, I suppose. Man, I feel I want to go on a diatribe here about there are worse things to worry about than litter, and I don't know why people take litter so seriously. I feel like litter is like this number one thing that really upsets people because you can visibly see it. It's there. It's right in front of your eye, you know, and you can take pictures of it and then put it online, and then you can all have a moan and a bitch and a complain about it. When there are a lot of problems that people could experience that aren't visible, that are bigger problems. And I'm not trying to pull a whataboutism here. I'm just trying to say that some things are more digestible for outrage if you can see them, where things such as, I don't know, let's say poverty, um, deprived areas, for instance, those are less visible. You know what I mean? So therefore, they tend to not make as good heart wrenching stories. I don't know. Just a thought. Just a thought. Just a thought. Lloyd offers a train to stay away from the neck. Oh shit. Oh god. I want to see how this court case concludes. I'm really curious. How long is when does the court case end? Does anyone actually know when it actually ends? Because I'm curious. I don't really want to read about the result until it's over, really. Because I don't like when court cases are currently happening. It's very rumor mill, and I don't really like that. Probably look at Daily Mail now, I suppose. Yeah, too true, tech splitter, too true. Do you know what? I watched the first half of that Ocean Spiracy. What was the name of this movie? It's on Ocean Netflix. Seaspiracy. I watched the first part of this and Seaspiracy, and I felt a little bit disconnected with it. All right, little backstory here. As a young man, I used to love documentaries. I loved learning. I loved expanding my brain. I found it really enjoyable. I found it really fun. Knowing something about something or other, I don't know, just made me feel good about myself. Like I was learning about the world and experiencing it from there on in. Okay, did I type sea piracy? That's also a problem in Ethiopia, Eritrea. Yeah, landlocked nations have trouble with pirates, sea pirates, river pirates. Yeah, I struggled with this movie. I really did struggle with it. Can we watch a bit of the documentary? I will say though, one thing about active. This is one thing people don't really understand about advocacy. Advocacy. Am I saying that right? Is that when you bring attention to a problem, even if you bring attention to that problem in a very shitty way, maybe with unorganized protests, with not with specific goals set in mind, bringing attention to a specific subject with not even the attempt to like fix that problem. Like for instance, I give you an example: the Wall Street. Can you remember the Wall Street protests? Can you remember this in Occupy Wall Street? That's where this was it. Oh shit, Occupy Wall Street. Fucking hell. Can you remember this? And one of the number one reasons this protest fizzled out. This is probably a really bad example because this didn't actually come of anything, did it? Anyway, one of the reasons this movement fizzled out was that it didn't have any end goals. It was like, oh, we have issues with the way the banking industry works. We have an issue with specifically how money is just distributed and corruption of money, but they never really had a specific goal. What was the actual end destination? And to this day, I don't think this actually really became of anything. Address inequality. I suppose when you say things like address inequality, um, I guess when you have the issues like end inequality, you need to specifically say how you're ending inequality. I suppose. Oh shit! Rage Against the Machine. Tom Morello. I remember he was at the one in New York. I used to love Rage Against the Machine. Fuck, I used to love that band. Oh my god, that's where they were. Fuck. And they set up the whole camp there, I remember. Anyway, this protest ended up fizzling out. Probably because they didn't have any end goals. But it did have an actual impact. Did it though? Did it have? Fuck. I'm actually like eating my own argument here. Anyway, what I was trying to get at is when you protest something and you don't really necessarily have an end goal, you potentially can have an impact to bring attention to a specific issue, to potentially find a solution to a problem with it. And you see at the moment there are like a lot of like documentary movies that might not necessarily have solutions, but they bring a lot of attention to this set issue to potentially create the conversation and potentially fix the problem. Oh god, this is another bad example, but can you remember Coney 2012? Oh shit, Coney 2012. Can anyone remember this? Verify your age. Pass. Can anyone remember this? Coney 2012. So if anyone's really, really young, you might not remember this. But there was a documentary film that went incredibly viral online, probably spread mostly on Facebook, about an African war loan called Coney. And he was abducting children from this area of Africa and making him join his army in Uganda, Kenya, whatever. And this guy made this movie called Coney 2012 to try and bring attention to it. Oh my god, that logo is really good. It's the donkey and the elephant, and there's a dove in the middle. Holy shit, I never even spotted that before. That's actually really good symbolism. I really like that a lot. Holy shit. Centrism, ideology. I never even noticed that. That's actually really cute. I like that. I like that a lot. He made a video on it. Ah, that's probably why you guys know about it then, don't you? Yeah, anywho, they made a video on this. This created an intense amount of media attention. In fucking sane. I can't describe how much attention this created. The problem with this one, though, is this wasn't really an actual problem. This warlord apparently had been known to be dead for like quite a long time. And most of his activities wasn't actually even in Uganda. It had moved over to Kenya, to Congo. So they were focused on the wrong area at the wrong time, like 10 years late. So a lot of the time, the heart's in the right place, and they're trying to focus on these issues to resolve them. But then a lot of the information was really fucking out of date. Who the fuck is this guy? Oh, this was a plan as well. So they set a specific day to drop these posters everywhere. So you get sent out a package that consists of stickers and posters and flyers. And on one specific night, everyone would go out and put up all these posters everywhere. And everyone would wake up and see all these posters everywhere. I guess the concept's really fucking cool, I suppose. It's a really good advocacy kind of thing. Yeah, and once again, this is the issue I'm getting to. Like, no one specifically sets like the end goal. No one says what the solution is. But just from raising attention, bringing attention to the general public, it gets to the politicians. The politicians actually work on actual solutions. But once again, the solution to this one was a bit weird because the problem had already moved, and Coney wasn't even alive, as far as we're aware. And I feel the same way about this Seaspiracy as well as Cowspiracy as well. I feel like the heart's in the right place, and I think these are important issues that need to be looked into and to address. And I think spreading advocacy is a really good thing. But I just don't want you to focus too much on the end goal here, because it's a lot of the time the average Joe's like me and you, particularly if you're not got a background in this subject. I don't think you're able to think of the long-term solutions to these kind of issues. And plus, these documentaries are produced for entertainment pieces first, over making a serious documentary. Because if it was serious, if you guys ever watched a serious documentary, God, they are so boring. And that's why they always made as entertainment pieces and like sensationalized, because otherwise they're just fucking boring. Oh, so boring. And I'm going to read what you guys are saying. He lost his mind. Yeah, he got way too much attention over a short period of time, and it made him have a mental breakdown. I really feel sorry for him, actually. It's kind of funny when you think about it, running around naked, but my God, he didn't handle that very well, did he? Yeah, I heard about the naked streaking thing and the mental breakdown. I believe the Occupy movement fomented the modern progressive movement. Yeah, apparently, I guess you could probably say that the Squad in Congress are like the living embodiment of the sequel to Occupy Wall. I guess you could say that, maybe. I don't know. You have to speak to them and find out if that's what they actually do believe. React to the Hinter's historian of Coney 2012. Maybe. It's a very long video. Do you remember the girls get kidnapped by Boko Haram? Didn't they? I actually don't know about that. I heard about it happening. And I remember Michelle Obama tried to raise attention for it, but it didn't go very far. Communists. Communists? Where? I still listen to Rage. But nice if they had a new album out, wouldn't it? Bring it back because we saw the public outrage when Boko Haram kidnapping children for slavery and all the fancy speeches. Everyone was pretty quick to forget about it. I mean, that kind of happens, I suppose. You can't really expect people to be permanently outraged. You have a mental breakdown if you're constantly, like, on high alert all the freaking time, I suppose. No, I'm not saying they shouldn't care. They should care. But it's kind of hard to people to stay permanently. The button is pressed on outrage permanently. Anyway, I'll give this documentary probably a 4 out of 10. I watched about half of it. I feel like the rest of the movie was pretty much all the same thing. Probably not eat as much fish. Probably we should fish out some of those fishing nets. A fishing net to fish fishing nets out of the Pacific. Think about it. I don't know, but seriously though, it's good if you don't know. But I wouldn't take it too seriously. Again, don't take it too seriously. It's a bit like Cowspiracy as well. I feel like Cowspiracy's message is really good, but once again, I just don't take these movies too seriously. Maybe eat a little bit less meat. Maybe think about getting an electric car. Maybe you can't really tell people to stop flying, can you? Really?
Cause of environmental degradation.
Stop eating palm oil. Don't eat palm oil. I see one of the issues with like movies that are environmental based is as an individual you can't really do a great deal other than spreading the message onto somebody else. Electric cars use more emissions than they produce than they currently. That's actually wrong. That's actually wrong. I want you guys to watch a YouTuber called Potholer. Actually, out of curiosity, where did you get that information from, Dan Game 9? I'm really curious. Because I've heard that before, and I'm just curious where you got it from. If you say Steven Crowder, I'm banning you. Be careful. Yeah, there's a YouTuber called Potholder54, and he is. I wish he'd say what he actually is. He's a British guy who lives in the United States. Let's look, United States location. You got it from 4chan. The initial cost of producing an electric car does have higher carbon emissions than a regular gasoline vehicle, but you have to look over the lifetime of the vehicle because you don't just produce a vehicle and then not drive it. When you buy a gasoline car, you don't buy it and just put it on your drive and look at it out the window. Look how pretty and shiny it is. You drive it, which needs refining of gasoline and then more gasoline to put into it and burn the gasoline in the vehicle. So you have to look over the lifetime of the vehicle, not just the production of the vehicle. And I've heard that argument quite a lot. Yeah, you're right. Electric cars, when producing lithium batteries, produce more carbon emissions than a gasoline vehicle on production. But once again, we don't buy cars to put them on our drives and just look at them. We drive them. See if I can find an electric. Anyway, this guy's really good. I think the problem with the argument right now is you guys are going to say, how do we know about this guy's credibility? I guess I can't think of exactly how I'm going to answer that. I wish his about page would actually say. I think he's. Oh, he's conclusion of scientific. Oh, he's a former scientific journalist, and he has a degree in geology. There you go. Is that good enough qualifications? I don't fucking know. So we can watch one of his videos, electric cars.
Now here's an interesting thing I read in the blog Louder with Crowder.
Oh shit, we're on to Crowder. That's the reason why I thought of Steven Crowder, because I know there's a lot of that car misinformation came from him at one point and spread across the internet. Anyway, this is not what I really wanted to talk about. We talked about that. I guess we wanted to talk about something else in the news. How long have we been going for right now? An hour and 30 minutes. Holy shit, this is meant to be the warm-up. It's been going on for an hour and a half. Adam ruins everything. Alright guys, prepare yourself. I'm going to put this on times 2 because I don't want to waste time.
That's me. Soon I'll be slashing my carbon footprint with this sexy new Tesla. 400,000 pre-orders can't be wrong. I cannot wait.
You can and should wait. If you're selling that perfectly good car to buy a brand new Tesla, you're not doing a good deed.
Oof, 2016. This is a while back.
You're just buying a bright, shiny, ecologically problematic toy.
What just happened?
Where are we? You're in your daughter's toys. I know it's a little forced, but I really like that.
Oh, it's electric. Okay.
Yep, electric cars like the Tesla are the sexy new thing.
Ooh, wow. Check out his brand new electric car. That's hot. Like our planet.
And a big part of their appeal is that car companies have marketed them as greener than a pocket square on St. Patty's Day.
A road trip completely sponsored by the power of the sun.
100% electric Nissan Leaf. Innovation for the planet. Innovation for all.
Wow, if I buy a Nissan, polar bears will love me.
Yeah, turns out that message is...
Yeah. I mean, okay, so this is something that's out of our control. So I understand you're going to say 40%, 60% of all electric is generated by gas and fuel plants. So therefore, only 60% of that... Oh, God, the dog's outside are barking. It's really annoying me. Be right back. Yeah, so the argument there is you say that you're going to fuel your car on electric that was generated in a coal plant, aren't you? Well, I mean, you have no control over that, so you have to basically say to yourself, well, by me buying an electric car, I can eventually persuade people in government to move more towards greener fuels. And there's a lot of European countries that do use a lot of green fuel. So look, France, green energy. So can we get a chart? Yeah, it depends on where you live. Depends on not just specific countries too, but also whereabouts in that country that you live as well. Like, look at the energy mix of France. So, for instance, if you're driving an electric car in France, you are basically a superhero. You are saving the fucking planet. Only 14% is fucking actual solid fuel. Holy shit, that's amazing. What's the source on this? Oh, this looks pretty good. Environmental progress. Holy shit. Oh, shit. France! France! You're doing so well. Nuclear, solar, wind, hydro. Hydro is really high. Holy shit. France is a superhero. France is a fucking superhero.
Pretty sketchy. Look, electric cars are more energy efficient than gas cars, but where do you think that energy comes from?
Actually, what about UK? UK green fuel. Breakdown. This is specifically just Shell, isn't it? This information is a little bit more difficult to get than I thought it would be. I thought this would be on a simple chart. It's a little bit more difficult to find than I originally thought. Anyway.
Comes from nature. As soon as I get a Tesla, I'll drive with all the colors of the wind. Pocahontas.
Nope, it comes from the energy grid. If you buy an electric car today, you're just shifting your fuel source from the gas.
Yeah. We get it. That's just what I've just said.
Rough nature sticker. Hey, stop that! The floors are bamboo!
And even the mere act of putting the car together produces greenhouse gases.
Yeah, we already talked about that. The initial cost for an electric car is more than a gasoline car. And one of the number one reasons for that is combustion cars have been mass-produced. Therefore, when you with capitalism, if you mass-produce something, they become more efficient at producing it. And therefore, you can cut down the costs of the environmental impact by producing something in mass scale, where electric cars are made on a more of a smaller scale, so therefore not efficiently produced as compared to combustion cars. But that will change over time as we produce more electric cars.
He's an expert on carbon emissions who's written extensively on this subject.
That's an expert? Looks like a toy.
Oh, you just had to pull his lever.
Holloway, Adam is right. While electric cars are more efficient, manufacturing typically adds about 50% to the total carbon footprint. So if you buy a new car too often, you could completely undo all the carbon savings that you might get from buying an electric car. If you really...
Whoops, needs another yank.
Efficient. But if your car is beyond repair and you absolutely need to buy a new...
I mean, if you're going to take into account you buying a new electric car, I understand that there's going to be an environmental impact for that. But when you're selling the vehicle, you're not sending it to the scrapyard to crush into a cube. You're giving it to somebody else, and then you're passing on those that environmental saving to that person you're using, because they're going to be driving an electric car. So it's not a zero-sum game. It's not just one in, one out. When the vehicle will still be in existence and will still be saving the environment. Just from being driven by somebody else.
Then go ahead, buy yourself a nice small electric car, perhaps even a used one.
I never thought of it that way. Anything else?
The real problem is that Americans bought 17.5 million cars last year.
What a Tesla! And it would help the environment.
Well, you can't have both. And if you're not careful, these companies will use that desire to help the planet to sell you more stuff that's hurting the planet. Buying green products won't solve the problem, because buying stuff is part of the problem. We need to reduce what we buy and reuse what we have. We can't shop our way out of this.
Yeah, I think I agree with that statement. Actually, I think you have to buy less to overall save the environment. I think it comes down to things that like single use things such as plastic things that can be used multiple times or biodegradable, or for instance, instead of using plastic, using paper, for instance, etc., etc.
Fine, I won't buy a Tesla. In fact, I'll do you one better. I'll walk everywhere. Yeah, walking. A surefire way to stop climate change.
Oh, this one's actually really interesting. In many cases, walking can actually increase your carbon footprint.
If I wasn't a pacifist, I would pass my fist.
I guess the argument there would be that if you're on a bike, for instance, a bike would make you, what is it, something like calories cost per mile bike, etc. There's like a really good graph for this that showed you like the calories compared to different vehicles versus running. Oh, this was it, something like this. The calories per mile. And it shows you how efficient certain things are. So you see cycling is like incredibly efficient for like speed as well as calorie count per person. Where then if you start to move up to the bigger vehicles, it becomes more and more inefficient. So what you just said isn't actually correct. Then it's apparently, according to this graph, walking and running is still more efficient than going in a car. A car plus one rider. That's interesting. Interesting. We're learning. We're learning. Big brain. All right, we're getting there, guys.
You know how pompous people with their Nissan Leafs and
It tells me I apparently know that electric cars are driven by pompous people with a sense of entitlement.
Anyway, he basically, if you guys want to watch this video, he goes through the sources here, and he talks about how Steven Crowder's claims about electric cars are all BS. Yeah.
Electric cars, despite the...
Oh my god, is this the actual video he's debunking? I think he's actually debunking the actual video on this video.
Now here's an...
subsidization and lobbying. How much subsidization to the point where my wife wanted to get a Tesla? Not because we wanted a Tesla, because she wanted a self-driving car. Don't buy a new car. It's the same. It is better for you to buy an old 85 Bronco than that new Tesla. First of all, I don't want a Tesla. Sorry, Team from HR. I don't like it. Right now, many of you have asked me this, have you ever changed your mind on anything? And to be clear, that's not the reason for changing my mind is to present your position in the affirmative and allow other people to make an argument.
Oh, this is a retraction.
Because a lot of people are busy trying to score points, and the idea for changing my mind is to listen to someone make their case. That being said, I have changed my mind on a subject. Tesla, let's go.
Oh, I heard that Steven Crowder got demonetized. He likes to do racist caricatures. Oh man, what a wanker. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Okay, so let me be really clear here. I've spoken in the past about how this is what I'm coming where I wasn't a big fan of electric cars, Teslas in general. No, let me be really clear. Where I have not changed my mind. A lot of the arguments still stand in that electric cars are not better for the environment than buying a used car. Okay, the best thing you can do is buy a used beater and drive it into the ground. You don't need a new Tesla. And if you go and you look at these lithium-ion batteries, depending which ones they are, mining for these very difficult to put together minerals, and they basically sit in the earth for a very long time. Right now, it is. And by the way, your electricity comes from somewhere. Coal. Some places. That's reductive. Sorry.
But I think he's right with that, but it depends. Depends where you live. If you're buying a 10, 15, 20-year-old car, those cars are not very efficient. So not only are you potentially outputting a lot of emissions, but you're potentially burning a lot of fuel too, more than you necessarily would with a new car, costing yourself more in the long run. So you're burning yourself on both ends. But you can also take into account if you live in an area that only burns coal and you buy an electric car, you know that when you're refueling your Tesla, for instance, you're using coal to refuel it. So yin and yang. The answer is, sadly, depends.
It does typically. Where does your answer come from where you are? A Swiss family. Tesla is a company that would not exist if not for my mind has not changed on that. Also, I still maintain that most electric cars, this is where there's an exception, Tesla's notwithstanding, but most electric cars are still pretty gay. So, okay. By the way, hit the notification bell. If you want more of this, because every morning you get a notification now.
Interesting fact. He calls his subscribers the Mug Club. I thought that was a really interesting name. So this is a way you can like donate to him. I guess he sends you a mug. God, look how hot he is there. Oh, my goodness. I can't believe this guy played one of the voices in that kids TV show. I can't believe it. Yeah, I thought that was an interesting name, Mug Club, because in the UK, mug is someone who's like stupid. If you call someone a mug, you're saying that they're being stupid, or foolish. So he's basically saying to his fans, "You're stupid. Subscribe to my mug club." I just thought that was a funny fact, but it's only a UK thing, that, by the way, calling someone a mug. Urban Dictionary. There you go. A British slang for a fool or someone who will do anything for you if you ask them to shut the door, run to the shop, etc. So someone who's basically gullible. I don't know, I just thought that was an interesting fact. Like, he calls people mugs. I don't know.
If you're ever worried about us,
I don't know. It's an interesting fact.
Yeah, it's the time to sign up for my club. Let me be really clear, because when I had to reflect upon all of this, right? Tesla is basically an American-based car manufacturer. We have to compare them to the marketplace. Now, Tesla has received directly $0.4 billion in subsidies. Okay, not a big fan of that, but they did pay it all back early with interest. So now, if we compare that to the big three, right? GM, Chrysler, Ford, they received just in 2008. And that's not the first bailout. $80 billion alone, and the taxpayer's still on the hook for $9 billion of those dollars.
So that's more.
Yeah,
That's a big
$80 billion compared to $9 billion. I do think this is important because the bailout was given to the big three American car companies when they were losing market share because they mismanaged their businesses. They had these crazy union pensions, whereas Tesla was paid bailout.
All right, I get the idea. It's a bit boring. All right, I think we've covered the